So the first question that we have here is, why do you typically not insulate interior walls?
Um, well, I mean, it doesn't save you any energy or anything else. It's a preference. We certainly do. I think we covered it a little bit ago, and we have the ability to do that. And I know that your sales team offers that. So commonly isn't required by code. And some people don't have children that are watching SpongeBob, so they're fine with sleeping without it. I think a standard drywalled wall without any or without any sound transmittance or insulation in that interior cavity performs just fine. But there are others that are light sleepers that might say, man, we've got to put something in that wall. So it's not code is probably the best response to that question.
Yeah, and from just an energy perspective, like the goal is to keep hot out, keep cold out,
Yep.
or keep cold in and keep heat in. But that's happening on the exterior shell, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So
the thermal
roof,
envelope.
the exterior walls, that's it's kind of like your cooler, right?
Yep.
So it's insulated all the way around, but inside's open so we can put beer in there.
Yeah. Yeti coolers are making a big, splash for one reason. They keep it cool or keep that heat away from the ice and do a great job. Open cell spray foam, by the way, in those.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We try to model after that success, right? Let's see here. What's another one? So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but like in typical for what we do, all right? So put your brain in that frame. How thick are we spraying on walls and ceilings and roof decks?
So I mentioned earlier that we do not have to have a 6-sided assembly. So even on your 2x6 exterior walls, you're installing 3.5 to 4 inches on those partitions, but you're sealing that envelope completely from top to bottom, side to side. So 5.5 inches in the roof deck, and then 3.5 to 4 inches in the exterior walls.
What about some of those areas? Because we did have one somewhere up in kind of that western North Carolina, top of western North Carolina, where we put 2x8s in the roof deck to spray it so that we could hit that next energy code or whatever it was. But we intentionally made it thicker.
Sure. The interpretation of by code municipality drives that for the most part. There are many parts in the Highlands and Franklin and those areas where they're requiring 7 inches of spray foam, some even just a little bit more. And so we always want to make sure that we're code compliant. We're very, very lucky to work with a couple of manufacturers that offer continuous education points for some seminars that we do. We work very closely with code officials to try to educate them on what's changing in the spray foam industry and what we're doing as an applicator differently than we did in the past to make sure that we are not only keeping our employees safe, but that we're getting consistency in those walls and in those roof decks on job sites.
Awesome. Good stuff. And then, all right, so this is a pretty long one. Let's read through it. It says, what I need to know from you guys is if you blew your attic rather than spray foamed it. If so, would there be condensation issues? If you did spray foam, how thick did you go? We just kind of covered that. And I've also heard that if you do a closed cell that you need a blown-in attic for ventilation. So that's a whole lot of meat there. So it says, if we were to blow the attic rather than spray foam it, would we have condensation? That's the first part of the question. And the second question is, they've always heard that if you do a closed cell perimeter, that you need to blow the attic with fiberglass for ventilation, which I think you could debunk both of those.
Yeah, we definitely, if we're going to encapsulate or seal that attic space and bring that HVAC system inside, we're, again, keeping those unconditioned temperatures from the outside to the inside. Would you have some condensation issues? I think you definitely could with a metal pan roof. Now, you guys are using sheathing, so it's a little bit different. You could blow in an R30 in there, and I think you'd be okay. Certainly wouldn't perform as well, and that mechanical system would certainly have to work a lot harder. But we're encapsulating that entire attic space, and so I wouldn't want any ventilation. I wouldn't want any hot, moist air going into that attic space. So we don't want that ridge vent open. We don't want any gable vents, and we don't want any soffit vents open. We want to encapsulate and bring in that fresh air where we want to bring it in and allow that air to dissipate in both directions rather than allowing Mother Nature to do so.
Yeah. And I think the other side of that question about if I close sell my walls and then I do blown in my attic, it sounds like the strategy there was to be cost effective.
Yeah.
Um,
It'd be backwards though, because obviously we realize heat rises, right? And so that attic space is far more important. I see some big, beautiful homes, even, custom homes on the lake where they want to talk about our value in exterior walls. And they've got a wall that has 900 square foot of glass on it because they want to look at the lake, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Or gosh, in your case, maybe they want to look at a countryside or a pasture or their farm. Those are all fantastic, but the rating, the U rating on those, and the window is going to be probably an R3.5. So I don't know how cost effective that would be on the exterior wall space.
Right.
I definitely wouldn't recommend it.
It all goes back to building science. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the Barndo Show podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this content, hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And then be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms at the Barndo Co. Super simple to find us. And then when you're ready to dive in a little more, maybe look around some of our available floor plan options or take a look at the gallery of our work, or maybe you're ready to connect with our team and explore what it looks like to build your dream barndominium, you can visit us online at thebarndoco.com.